There comes a point where science can only go so far. I had a nightmare. My guides came into my dream. He said, "You have breast cancer." My intuition and physician within saved my life.
Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening.
You were born with inner guidance. Let me teach you how to use it.
You're live, Kat.
Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, author Kat Kanavos, and you are watching The Kat Kanavos Show. How often do you feel miserable and stuck, kind of like you're stuck in old wounds? Well, our guest tonight is going to be talking about that and how to get out of your own way with self-sabotage. Our guest is actress, renowned voiceover professional, Lynn Singer, who wrote Breaking Into Brilliance. Welcome to the show, Lynn.
Thank you, Kat. Lovely to be here.
So, Lynn, tell us about this voiceover professional. I mean, everybody's going to go, voiceover, what's she been in?
Oh, what have I been in? As a voiceover professional, I had 3 categories. You know, we all want to do everything. But my voice always led the way. I've taught voice and acting and diction, and now I'm teaching Breaking Into Brilliance, an awakening of creative consciousness. But I did spend 25 years doing voiceovers. And yes, you heard me on Pantyhose by Hanes, and you've heard me on Perfume, and you've heard me. I did 3 categories. There was the sexy category, the humor, and the straight announce. And yet it's kind of interesting because at one point I remember calling my agent and saying, you know, I didn't do that particular blah, blah, blah that I had heard on television one morning. I said, you know, they have lifted my audition because I didn't book that spot. And I was sure it was me. And he called me back about an hour later and he said, Lynn, that was Marsha. I didn't even recognize, because some of us have a similar tonality in our voice, or we can use it in certain ways that it might not sound like our day-to-day voice. So that was a funny moment. But yeah, I've done commercials on television and commercials on radio. There used to be mostly television and radio spots. And when I was first joining the union, cable was just coming in. And I did a lot of work at Screen Actors Guild. Mm-hmm. I was on committees. And I was like, you know, new girl in town. And I raised my hand at one committee meeting for voiceovers. And I said, you know, I think we need to know about this cable stuff that's happening. And I was shot down by all the old heavy men in the room. Lynn, there are national commercials, and there are spots, and there's radio. I said, well, I think that something's happening with this. And we lost everything because nobody took it seriously, and they pretty much gave away the contract because they thought it would just fade away. And now cable...
Oh, that's sad. So tell us about your sexy voice, though. Have we heard your sexy voice somewhere?
But not recently. I haven't done any commercials in about 10 years.
Okay.
So what was the last thing I did? I'm trying to remember. I did a sexy moo cow once.
A sexy what?
Moo cow.
A sexy moo cow. I love
moo cow. Yes, they wanted the sounds of a cow mooing that was sexy. That was the biggest audition I ever had. And I'm trying to remember the last, I did Revlon, I did, you know, all of them, all of these kind of things. But none of the spots, none of the national commercials would have been running recently. You wouldn't have heard me recently, no.
So let's talk about your book, Breaking Into Brilliance. And I'm going to be pulling some of the stuff out of that this evening to talk about, because I found it absolutely fascinating. Now, how important do you think it is for us to get out of our own way? And I know you've had to do that when you had to go for your auditions. So what you've written in this book, it's not just words. You're not just talking the talk. You've already walked the walk. Is that right?
But it was more than just getting out of my own way with auditions for acting and for voiceovers. I actually had an event when I was in my late 20s where I became pretty unhinged for a while. I mean, something happened that really was like an accident that happened. And it opened up my creative consciousness in a completely different way. But it also opened up drama in me of the anger and the fear. So I had to really work with that to clean that out. But what happened, what the gift of this was, is that I saw another reality. I saw myself differently in both. I never knew I had this much fear in me or that much anger in me, and I never knew the extent of my creativity. I knew I had that, but I didn't know how big it was. And I got extremely psychic. I could read people, I could look, and it was very scary for a while. But when I integrated it, it was very powerful, and I was on stage 4 months later.
How did you integrate it?
When I integrated the parts that were frightening or that were where I was still just too much was going on in one day. You know, I had so much more information coming into me in one day that I had to learn to ground it and learn to integrate it more. And within 4 or 5 months, I was taking acting classes, which was my heart's desire. And I was always nervous about it. I always could feel there was something in me that I needed to do with it, but it was kind of overwhelming. And I was forced when I was in college, people would force me on stage. Come on, you have to do this little piece for me. You're the one that has to do it. You've got to do it. So I would do it, longing for it, and I'd be scared of it. It was like such an enormous thing to me. Acting was so important, and this ability to portray other people and to show your soul. I was like, whoa, I'm not ready for that. But 4 or 5 months after that accident, I was very ready for it. And that's what made me know we're all capable of having our heart's desire. We don't have to go through what I went through. We have to just look at ourselves and have the courage to do it. And for me, it's an awakening of creative consciousness. It's to know that we're all vastly creative beings, much more than we know. We're creating every second we know. And to do it.
So you know, I know for a fact, because I'm a psychology major, that public speaking is one of the biggest fears people have. I mean, it is at the top of the list of fears. And so you're talking about how you had to get out of your own way with what you were going through with your fears in order to become what you always wanted to be able to get up on that stage and talk. How many people are there that would love to do that, but they're so afraid?
Well, I think you have to take your courage out of the shadows and bring your courage to yourself and just jump off that cliff, because when we jump off a cliff, but when we jump off the cliff, the universe is always there to catch us. Right. I've had a student who said to me, my sister is doing improvisational work and I could no more do that than die. And I said to her, go watch it. Go see how different your sister will be when she gets off stage. And it might inspire you. Because I think Eleanor Roosevelt said it, do the thing every day that scares you the most.
Interesting. Yeah, wow. And you're right, she did. And that would almost give you pause to get out of the bed. But you know, where you're talking about where you just have to step out of your comfort zone, that's like in the tarot cards, that's the Fool. That's where you're looking up to the heavens and you're stepping right off the mountain and innately knowing that you're going to be all right. And
I get that card a lot. I get that card a lot.
It's funny. I know that you, in your book, you talk about, I think I wrote it down here, mining our own innate, brilliant soul. What do you mean by mining it?
We have to get rid of the dross. We have to look for it. We have to see what's covering it, what the parental stuff was that's covering, what the school system covers it, what our friends, how it got covered, because we were afraid of, and I'm running on battery now. We're afraid of going forward with ourselves, you know?
So when you're talking about uncover, you mean to bring that out up into the open rather than than brushing it under the rug.
Exactly.
Yeah, facing it. Okay. Or gosh,
facing that. You know, we do it all the time.
we do.
We do it with. I mean, can you? I don't know. Do you have children?
Well, I have fur children, and one of them is down here by my feet. I don't have regular children. I've got fur children.
Well, you know, having children, I mean, I can't imagine, because I haven't had children, and I've had a lot of fur children myself, but I cannot imagine going through childbirth. I mean, it's like you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You don't know how, I mean, it's a huge discovery. An enormous amount of courage is needed, but we don't think about it that way. You know, we don't think about it as courageous.
So do you happen to have your book there with you? Because your book cover is beautiful.
Well, you know what? I'm going to walk us to another part.
Oh, we get to see the whole room.
Of my room, and we're going to get dark for a little bit here. And here we are, because I also do have to plug us in, because I will lose battery. I don't want to know this. And yes, I'm going to show you my book.
Okay.
Let me get it.
So while she's gone, let's talk about how easy it is to get out of your own way. And one of the things I think, at least I do, when I get in my way, it's usually because I'm afraid of something. And when I become afraid of something, I get a little agitated and I become defensive. So one of the first things I do to get out of my way is recognize the fear, embrace the fear, and then dare myself to step into. It's like daring yourself to step into a pile of dog you know what on the ground. But sometimes that's what you've got to do in order to make your way through whatever it is you're going through to get out of your way. So we're back. Oh, there we are. What a beautiful book. Breaking Into Brilliance. So this is not just a regular book, is it? It's actually, I was reading that it's an interactive animated book. How does that happen?
This is actually a journal. This is actually a softcover journal. And I also do have a coffee table version, and the softcover version that's going up on Amazon will be there in a few weeks. But I started the book. With the knowledge that it was going to go up online, but I wanted to make it something sensorial. Like I didn't want people to think I was writing a novel or writing another self-help book. And I have a degree in literature, and I lived with a poet, and I've got writers around me. And I thought, you know, I'm not a writer in that way. My writing is very poetic. My writing is very stream of consciousness, but it's not that way. Like I don't call the chapters chapters. I call them attractions. There's something to pull you in here. And so the first thing
attractions, you can see the movie.
Right, you see the movie of your life, you know, and it's a coming attraction of what you can do. And so I remember sitting on my roof garden with a friend, and I'm going, you know, I need music in here. I need videos. I need people to be able to bring in anything that stirs them to their courage. And of course, the technology isn't ready for me to put everything in the book, because then nobody could open it for a year. But videos, maybe I thought, no, okay. So I voiced it. That was the first thing I knew I had to do. I had to voice it, because that's what I do with everything. I voice it. But then, and I don't remember how this came about, but animation came. Oh, there she is.
She's trying to pull my cords out of the computer. Okay, watch the camera. So tell our audience how they can find your book.
I'm sorry?
Tell the audience how they can find your book.
BreakIntoBrilliance.com.
BreakIntoBrilliance.com. And how can they find out more about you? Do you have a website?
BreakIntoBrilliance.com has the book, And it has a link to, it's a beautiful page. I must say, all of the first animations from each attraction are on there. They look like, they all look like children's cartoons being drawn right after it. It's very lovely. Very lovely how my web person put this together, right? So breakingintobrilliance.com and lynn-singer.com.
Okay.
Both sites, and they're integrated. They can read more about me. They can read more about the author. They can see my photographs. I was also photographing with the Greek government. I did many, many, many things, and it looked like in my life, oh, you stopped acting just when people were galvanizing towards you. Oh, you stopped voiceovers just from that. Oh, you stopped Yale. Oh, you stopped photographs. But it was all leading to breaking into brilliance.
Isn't it amazing how the stuff we do just brings you into that?
It's that I had to do all of these things, all the therapy work, all the spirit work, all the artwork. I had to do all of these things in order to do the book. And the book came out of Israel. It came out of a dream of my best friend in Israel.
What do you mean a dream? I'm big into dreams, so tell us your dream.
She dreamt.
Oh, she
Dana dreamt.
Oh.
My dearest friend in Israel, I dreamt you published a book. It was a big book, and it had cartoons in it and photographs, and it became translated very, very quickly, and you came to Israel, and I woke up thinking, this woman gets what she wants.
I love that. I believe in dreams because Dr. Larry Burke and I are actually waiting to get a contract from a publishing house on our book that we're writing together, Dreams That Do Come True and Save Your Life. So your dream came true, or your friend's dream was dreaming about you and it came true, and there's your book.
I lost you on the mic for a second.
I said your dream was about you publishing a book, but your friend dreamed it about you, and that's called dreaming for others. That's really a beautiful dream.
And astrologically, I was told that my vision comes out completely in Israel. So
really? It's interesting. So what is the last thought you would like to leave our audience with tonight? Because we're down to our last 2 minutes.
Oh, I would like them to create the life they want no matter what is going on. Create the life you want. Jump off the cliff. The universe is always there. When you have courage and if you see something in front of you and everyone and everything is saying, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, that's when you've got to do it. I totally believe it, because the universe just opens the doors when you believe in yourself and you grab a hold of what it is you want. Okay,
well, I want to thank everybody for being with us tonight, and you can see this video on my Cat Kanavos show page on Facebook. Like right now, we are live streaming right now, but then it's going to go up onto the page and it will be on Spreaker, and I will send you those links, Lynn. But I also take the show and I blog it and put it on Pathos and put it on Biz Analytics 360. So watch my page, my Facebook page, and you can click on the links and read about more information that I've gotten here about Lynn's book that we weren't able to cover in this interview, but it will be in the article. So thank you so much for being with us tonight, Lynn. I really appreciate you being here. And until next week, have a great week, everyone, and stay safe. Good night.
Yeah.